Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I did a brew, it's over here. That brew there is one of my traditional type, my type of lagers, which is with that Lutra Kveik. Tastes like mud. I don't know what I've done wrong. I think I soaked the fermenter in bleach, and I just might not have rinsed it properly, so I think that's like chlorophenols or something. Anyway, with that in mind, I was like, look, I'm going to get another fermenter. Bought myself this thing. It's called the Keg King Chubby from Brew to Bottle, and this is a pressurized fermenter. I'm pressure testing it at the moment. The pressure release valve is set to 40 psi, I believe. This is rated to 35 psi, or maybe the pressure release valve is 35, something like that. But you can actually get a pressure release valve at 10 or 15 psi from the same place. I wish I had seen it. I would have added it. It was only a few quid, and then I wouldn't have needed to have a spunding valve. I could have just left that, and that would have released the pressure at 15 psi. Might still buy that, but I do have a spunding valve as well. Also bought a couple of kits because the all grain brewing obviously takes a long time, and I've got no beer, and I just want to start bashing out a few batches. So I'm going to do these two kits, and then I'm going to do some all grain again. Pretty straightforward system. So it's got the ball lock fittings, which just screw in. It all comes apart. It's got a handle that you screw on as well. It just goes around the base, and it's got a floating dip tube. So pretty cool fermenter. Came with a thermo strip, and then it's also come with a graduation. Oopsie. Come with the graduation sticker that one hand is not enough, which I will stick on in a minute. So I'm going to measure out sort of 10 litres of water for sanitizing the internals anyway. I'll do 10 litres of water, and I'll line up the 10 litre mark and stick this on and rinse out all the sanitizer, and just mix myself some beer. So we're over here on the brew bench. I put the graduations on. I did get them ever so slightly wrong, so they're a bit high, which means that's 22 and a quarter. It's probably more like 22 and 3/4. But other than that, it was pretty easy to do. You've got to cut quite a narrow hole for the syrup. I'm doing a kit, so yeah, just an easy one today. We're sitting at between 20 and 22. Should be fine. It's going in the keezer. You can see it's ready over here. It's going in there, and that's currently, well, the water in there is at 16.9. It's set to 20. Shouldn't take too long. I've just got to pitch the yeast and then game on. Yeast is pitched. One thing to probably bear in mind is on this top you've got one with the groove, that's your gas, and one that's smooth, that's your beer. So I put the line onto the beer one, so that'll float as a floating dip tube. But there's a dry hop in this as well, so it'll be interesting to see how the floating dip tube works with the dry hop. I might just put the dry hop in a bag just for the first go, so see how it goes. So it is now 6 PM the day after. I would say we're about 20 hours into fermentation, so we're going to have a quick look. I can see a nice healthy krausen on there. Spunding valve's connected, although it's upside down. I will spin you around. I must be getting close to 15 psi now, which is my target. I want to get it. Once I've got it to 15 psi, I have to adjust this release valve on the spunding valve here, just so that it starts to release at that. I haven't ever configured it or calibrated it before, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. But yeah, that's pretty good. 20 hours, and it's built up, what, 12 psi already, so that will actually slowly be carbonating that beer for me as well. The only thing I can't do in here, and I think it's probably justification to get like an ice spindle or whatever, one of the hydrometers you just chuck in, because then I could just let it ferment out, cold crash it and everything, and connect that up to a tap without it ever touching oxygen again. So that's quite a big bonus, especially when you're dealing with more oxidization prone beers like the New England IPAs and stuff like that, which turn brown instead of nice orange juice color. Anyway, I waffle. I will come back when there's another step to show you. So I've just released the pressure. I had about 16 or 17 psi in there, but you see that there was no krausen at all there, so I'm guessing that is just carbonation and a bit of the yeast activity after releasing the pressure. So I'm going to let that settle down. See, I've got the pressure pretty much down to zero. So I'll let that settle down, and then I'm going to take a gravity reading. If I'm down to 1010 or anything around there, even 1012, then I'm going to do the dry hop. The only downside with one of these type of fermenters is the dry hop requires you to release all the pressure, which kind of sucks. I'm sure there's a way. Imagine there's a way to have the dry hop hanging in a bag out of the wort, and then you could just push a button and it just unclips and drops in. That would be good. Someone invent that. Okay, so I've measured the gravity. There's a nice little view of the color to be expected, which is pretty much a light bitter type color. It's 1012, and I think that's probably as low as it's going to go. So time for the dry hop. Now, it was quite a mission getting this off. I had to purge the gas more than once just to make sure it worked properly. But anyway, there are our hops. In you go, you cheeky little thing. Lovely jobly. And then I will get the lid back on, purge this of CO2, and it's game on. See you at the kegging. Okay guys, so this is now fermented out. I've taken it out. I'm going to make some pipes so I won't have to move it after fermentation, but with the length pipes I've got now, I've taken it out, and I'm going to now transfer it from here into a keg. So first thing I need to do is purge the keg. I've already purged it once, but I saved a bit for you. Okay, so this is a spunding valve, and that is set to 15 psi. I had it on here during the initial fermentation. It has dropped below now because I had to dry hop, which means I had to open it, and I didn't fully repressurize it. It was up at about 2 psi, so I'll slowly repressurize this, and then it'll build up to 15 psi, and it should just transfer. I might turn this down to about 10 psi just so I'm not using that high pressure transfer. Okay, let's see how it goes. Okay, I've connected up the gas, and I've set this now to 10 psi. So now I'll put the spunding valve on the gas post, because this is the one with the short dip tube, so you want to release gas from this side and put the beer from the pickup into the pickup here as well, so that there's no splashing or anything. Okay, so I've made up a piece of pipe which just connects from the beer to the beer. So my first mistake, I had not repressurized the keg to 10 psi. So there's beer transferring. Okay, so the lid isn't properly sealing for this. I mean, you get the idea, but I think it's transferring too fast, to be honest. I've turned down the pressure to about 5 psi. I'm just going to let it go nice and slowly now. You can see here, the Chubby comes with this floating dip tube. See, it's picking up the beer from about there. It does kind of mean that I'm going to lose a bit of beer, but it gets narrower at the bottom, so hopefully this doesn't come into contact with the yeast cake before we get past this little lip here, and that cake should be full. So the pressure had built up here a little bit. I'm just finding the right spot to release. Just trying to get it down to around 10. I've got it now, the other one set to 12. So this is about perfect. And I've decided to save, so it was 22 litres here. So if I go down to just over 3 litres left, so that's 6, 5, 4. So as soon as it gets below that curve, we'll be talking getting close to 19 litres. That'll allow me to then, rather than open this keg and risk after all this effort to get no oxygen on it, I'm not going to risk that. So I'm going to use the calculation from the gradient here. Quite hard to see, but if you look just down the bottom of this this crack here, you can see the yeast cake. It's actually quite a compact little yeast cake, so you can go quite a long way down even though the dip tube's hanging. So what did I say? 22 down to 3. Not too much longer. Okay, I think I got the calculation right, but I lost concentration. That'll probably be just a bit of foam that's coming up right near the top there, and it's coming to the gas outpost, so that's all that's going in there. I'll turn the gas off. I can clean this spunding valve out using my my keg cleaner because it has a fitting, so I'll just put it in the solution and run it through for a couple of minutes. Okay, so that's the transfer. I'll just clean up this keg a bit and then I'll force carb it. But that's not for the sake of this video. I've got force carbing videos, so I hope you guys enjoyed that one. A little bit of a schoolboy error at the end there, but I think that was down to the fact that I hadn't pre-pressurized the keg itself, so that there was a balance of pressure before starting the flow, and that would have caused some foaming because this is carbonated, this beer in here. It's been sitting at 15 psi, so, well, it's partially carbonated, should I say. Yeah, I think this is the way. Okay, so I'm set up over here. I've actually done a separate video on how to clean kegs with this, so it was a video about this keg washer. But what I'm going to do is just show you how to clean this thing, because this is the subject of this video. So first thing is just release your pressure. Then loosen the top. Pop this off. Chuck it in the cleaning solution. That in the cleaning solution. Now what I'm going to do, use the bits that come with this. So always remember, gas is the one with the little cuts into the nut. Gas on one, and beer on the other. Just leave that in there, in the water. And then I'm going to go and chuck all of this just up. What I do is I swirl it up, chuck it in the toilet basically. Okay, so that was, I poured it all out down the toilet, pulled the hot bag out, chucked it away, and put about a litre of water, swirled it. You can see it's still absolutely filthy. One of the things I've seen a few of these reviews, and they're always using clean equipment. It's just a demonstration rather than an actual review. So let's see how clean we get with this. There's a few cycles, so there's a run of 10 minutes on this cleaner, and then I'll run it for, I'll rinse everything, including the bucket, and I'll run it with sanitizer for another 10 minutes. And then that thing should be clean. So it's the first time I'm using this device on this fermenter. Let's see how it goes. So you see it's got that adjustable pipe there. Get it just towards the top, and then it just runs all the way down the sides. This water has cooled down. I had this at about 45-50 degrees. It's room temperature now. So let's just see how it goes. I'll come back in 10 minutes. Okay, so that's the cleaning. Okay, so that's the cleaning cycle done. So now I'm gonna take it off. I'm gonna manually rinse this just with a litre of water, a couple of times swirling. I'm going to rinse all of this out and put some star sand. Unfortunately, star sand is a foaming, not star sand, what is chem sand, whatever it is. It's a foaming sanitizer, so I'm probably going to have an issue with it. So what I might do is just have it more highly diluted. But for the sake of cleanliness, the cleaning cycle is complete. These marks that you can see here are actually from the water droplet marks on the outside. But inside she's absolutely clean. That it does change. That changes. That's a game changer in that cleaning is the worst part of it. If you just have to mix up a bucket of cleaner and you could just every 10 minutes change a vessel and put a different dirty vessel on, you're laughing. So all in all, fantastic little fermenter. This it's going to be my go-to fermenter for now. I'm tempted to get one of the juniors, which can be used as a keg as well. This can also obviously be used as a keg, but the junior ones are 20 litres, so you can ferment in here and then transfer into them. Yeah, catch you in the next one, guys.